A couple of years ago, I ran an SEO test that completely changed the way I look and approach e-commerce SEO. The results of the test were so startling, in fact, that the SEO team got fired, and it actually provided the catalyst for me to start my SEO agency now. And I've never actually shared this story, but it occurred to me while preaching about how blog traffic doesn't pay bills that this is a very timely and lesson learned story to share. So today I'm going to break down the site I was working on, the test I ran, the metrics involved, and everything else I learned from this test. So let's get into it. All right. So the site is called numding.com. They sell a tattoo numbing cream, something you put on your skin both before and during getting a tattoo. Supposed to make it hurt less. Never used it. I don't represent the company anymore. I haven't worked with the company in, probably like 3 years now. I know they also sell like some post tattoo aftercare stuff. Again, no affiliation with them anymore. I freelanced with them 3-4 years ago. And I just want to tell this SEO story about blog traffic not paying bills and why, if you're an SEO agency, you should really consider how you approach strategies to extend your lifetime value with clients and also like just get better results for clients generally. And if you're a client doing it in-house, or you're a client, or if you're a brand doing it in-house, or if you're a client of an agency, hopefully this story is a cautionary tale as to evaluating what the strategy your agency is doing, or if freelancer, same thing. Okay. This is an all too common tale and it happens a lot. Okay. So to understand what the test is, let's first go back in time. Okay. So let's go back and look at all-time performance in SEMrush. So I started working on the site in, I believe it was March of 2022. I was freelancing for the brand as well as some other e-commerce brands at the time, also some local SEO brands or local SEO like service companies. Okay. So in March of 22, traffic was just about 400 visitors a month. It was largely branded. The first thing we had started doing at the time, and this was a couple years ago, so, blog content was still pretty good back then. But in any case, it was largely, as you can see, like the paid traffic distribution here was way larger. Like they were super heavy on paid ads. Branded search was kind of like their biggest proportion, let's say, of organic search, right? Started writing blog content, so on and so forth. Fast forward a little over a year after joining the brand, peaked at just shy of 28,000 organic search visitors a month. Totally crushed it. Okay. Call it good timing, call it divine intervention. I actually quit freelancing on this brand around this time, July of 2023. And I honestly didn't keep up with the brand. I was working with a freelance team at the time, 2 other people. I know they continued to work on the brand for a few months. However, shortly thereafter, they were fired. Not at all connected to me leaving, as far as to my knowledge. The point is that they got fired because they could not produce a lot of results. Okay. Now, we were kind of novice freelancers in our days at the time. I think we were charging like $1,500 a month or something like that. Like building a few backlinks, mostly writing blog content. Like it was pretty bare bones, but the goal was just drive traffic. Now, I learned a lot of what I knew from SEO from the person I was freelancing with. And he was kind of like, we weren't a company, so to speak. We were just freelancing, but he was like the one who acquired projects and like put us on it and stuff. Okay. So his driving metric all the time was like, we just got to increase organic search traffic. And I'm like, cool. So as all this traffic is climbing within a year, like zero to more or less 0 to 28,000 in a year is like pretty impressive in my opinion, for the budget we were on at the time. Okay. Now I was like, oh yeah, blog traffic's going up. This is great. Campaign is crushing, right? Now the brand every other month, every third month would come back to us like, like how much money are we making? And they actually had a problem with their GA4. And so they were using Hyros to track like their paid media spend. We could not get their GA4 to like correctly attribute organic revenue. So we're looking in Shopify, like on their backend dashboard, and we were getting some numbers. Now, the number really never fluctuated over the course of the year. Like traffic skyrocketed from 0 to 28K. Organic search revenue was pretty much the same. Now, this didn't make any sense to me. I was like, well, traffic's going up. And I was just an idiot, quite frankly. Traffic was going up, revenue wasn't. Couldn't find out, really like more like came to learn. Blog traffic doesn't pay bills. And that is something like at that moment in time, which is like the month I left, I made a decision, like, if I'm going to do SEO, if I'm going to continue doing SEO, like, it all has to be tied to revenue. Okay. If I continue to drive traffic if I continue to just drive traffic for clients, I will likely probably just get paid for like 6 or 8 months, and then clients will churn. And that's what happens all the time. If you're a brand and you're paying an agency or freelancer or whatever, and they're just writing blog content, traffic's probably going up, but you're not like, wow, we're making a lot of money. Like, you're just, traffic's going up and you're like, hey, it's fine. Like, it's okay, I guess. So when the moment I left, when I started my agency, I knew like we had to just, like, the only metric anyone should care about is money, like organic search revenue, right? So the lesson I want to share with you here, and I'm going to show you like just exactly what we did, like the pages we built, all that kind of stuff, okay? Because all these pages are still there. I just checked, and they look to be relatively unedited from what I remember doing at the time, okay? By and large, if you took a client from 0 to 20, if you took a brand from 0 to 28,000 searches a month in the span of a year-ish, you should be proud of that. However, there is a good to fair chance if you're an agency or freelancer that did it, and it is because blog traffic, that brand is also going to fire you around the year mark. And again, that's just traffic doesn't pay bills. So organic search revenue, like I said, I don't have access to their GA4, so I can't show you it, or their Shopify, but the revenue was flat, totally flat. It was like a couple $1,000s a month, like sub $10,000 a month organic search revenue. But blog traffic like had just ballooned to like nearly 30K. So what I'm saying is blog traffic is a lying metric. It is a vanity metric. Blog content gets you leverage when internal linking is done correctly. But more blogs is not necessarily going to make you more money. Okay. If you write like bottom of funnel blogs, sure. Right. Unfortunately, these were like all top funnel blogs. So let me get into what those are quickly. So, yeah, let's look at their top performing blogs here. So I'll just like drop this filter. I want to show you products and collections too. But so in the United States right now, so traffic is down to like 10.5 globally, down from 30K, as you can see on that graph. Okay. 3,500 searches or visitors a month organic in the United States. All of the top performing pages are blogs. Is Aquifer good for tattoos? This product page actually recently just entered the top 10, position 4, which is pretty cool. We got a homepage that's a branded page. Best numbing cream for tattoos. Again, this just recently entered the top 10. Now, this distribution is a lot better than when I left it. Okay, like significantly better. But if you look at top pages, like how to make tattoos hurt less, blog post, hand tattoos, blog post. We actually ranked number 1 for, I believe when traffic was at 30K a month, I actually believe we ranked number 1 for hand tattoos, which is crazy because we just like grabbed a bunch of their client photos off of Instagram and just like slapped them together for like hand tattoo ideas. And it worked pretty well. Obviously, that was like 2022, so the game was a lot easier then. But how long does tattoo numbing cream last? Like that's a blog. This is a blog. Like the point is, all the traffic is held in blog post. That is until these 2 pages into the top 10. Now, these are position 4 and position 3 respectively. Pretty good search volume. A few backlinks would like for sure fix this. Okay, this is a product page, so technically you wouldn't build backlinks directly to said product page. You would have to build them through these other blog posts. You'd build backlinks to the blog post, and then you would make sure you have your anchors dialed in that link from the blog post to the product pages. And then the value of those backlinks would get passed from backlink source to blog post, and then by way of internal linking, finally find their way on the product page. That would probably enable these keywords over time. I don't know what the link gap is here, but I would bet you like 10 or 20 links probably gets to the number 1 spot. I know like Mad Rabbit, I think is the number 1 spot, and some other skincare brands like Birdie, I think has an article that also is in the top 2 or 3. So not an easy way to get in the top position spot, but a few backlinks would essentially solve it. Now, 3.5K traffic, like let's break this down even further. Okay, so if we look at like just URLs. So look at just product pages first. So of the 3,500 in the US, only 500 of it is product page traffic. Okay. And I guarantee you some of that is probably branded. Okay. Let's look at collection page. I think there's just like 2 or 3 collections in. Going back, knowing what I know now, the blog content I still would have written because it would have given me a lot of leverage, but I would have definitely done more on the product pages and collection pages. And I just didn't have the knowledge at the time, which is precisely why the SEO team was fired shortly thereafter. We had a lot of traffic, but we couldn't produce more revenue. So it's kind of like a sunk cost for the business, like a vanity cost for the business, right? Again, of the 3,500 visitors a month in the United States, only 66 visitors come to collection pages. Now, if we just look at blogs or their guide pages, so let's exclude these. So because we had a few ultimate guides that were like on the Shopify/pages URL structure. So 3K basically left to that. So yeah, 3 out of 3.5K goes to blog traffic or ultimate guide pages. Okay. So at the time I was 24, 3, 4, something like that. I was shocked that I was shocked. I left the agency, like I said, I left the freelance that contract before the rest of the freelancers were technically fired. But I remember being so surprised every month when the client was asking, like, why don't we make more money? Or like, how much money are you making? And I was shocked that the number wouldn't go up. Just honestly, that was me being naive. I just didn't know any better. So from then on, I kind of learned, okay, like everything has to be tied to revenue. Organic search traffic is just simply an outdated way of measuring SEO performance, right? Like I said, I had learned SEO from this freelancer who had spent like better part of the early 2000s doing SEO, local service companies, some e-com brands, some like B2B companies. At the rate he was charging, it was like 500 to 2,000 a month. Like you can get away with charging that kind of money and just increasing search traffic because it's like a pretty low cost, right? But as you elevate above that service cost, it's obviously really expensive. So you have to make sure you're providing a really solid ROI, like 3, 4, 5x plus, in order for an e-commerce brand like the ones I work with to justify that cost, right? So you're charging $500 a month. If you make traffic go up, yeah, you're a god. Like that, that is a good thing. If you can do anything with $500 a month, that's like a good thing, right? Even at 1,000, like make traffic go up, fine. Anyone investing like 1,000, any e-com brand investing like $1,000 in SEO, honestly, it's pretty much a gray zone. If you're an e-com brand, I wouldn't recommend doing it at $1,000 a month. I just don't think you're going to find 9 times out of 10, you're not going to find a good freelancer to do anything good at $1,000 a month. Even so, like shit. I mean, like I got the website to like 28K visitors, but like I didn't really make a lot of money. So like at the time I thought I was great. Even so, like I just made the traffic go up. Like maybe that was worth $1,000 a month to them or $1,500 a month to them. Perhaps it was. Perhaps it's worth that to you. But I will say, like, if you're an e-com brand investing like sub 1,500, sub 2,000 a month, you're kind of in a gray zone. There's a lot of bad operators in there, and they're charging at that point because they know it is just low enough for you to not care, and also low enough for them to not have to produce great results because the cost is so low. Okay. I would in fact argue that if you think you're saving money by investing in SEO at like the $500, $1,000, $1,500 range, I would argue you're probably just in fact losing money actively. If you're an agency freelancer charging that kind of rate and you've been doing SEO for years, you're doing yourself a disservice, and you're definitely doing brands a disservice. If you've just started SEO and you're charging that, I hope that means you're actually in fact better than that rate, but you're just charging that because you don't have any clients and you're looking to work your way up, which is what I did, right? My prices are now like double that of what they used to be. Double to triple, in fact, actually. So, but I wanted case studies. This was a case study, one way or another, positively or negatively. I needed a case study, so I charged less in exchange for, testimonials, things like that. So this was a big learning. Like, if you're still watching this video, this case study, in the few months after reflecting on the traffic drop that happened after the fact, the revenue that didn't seem to grow ever, and kind of getting fired, this changed everything about how I approach SEO. Okay. We still write blogs. We continued to write blogs for like the new clients, like SEO agency clients I signed. However, the focus was largely on collection page rankings, because if I couldn't make clients money, they weren't going to pay me for more than 4 or 5 months. And what's the point of paying someone 4 or 5 months? Like, that's not going to get you anything, right? SEO relationships are meant to be a long time. And so the focus has to be on revenue so that you can continue to build a relationship based off of the back of revenue. Okay. So, bit of a different video for me. A lot of learnings to have from it. My advice to you, kind of too long don't read / summary of this. Blog traffic is deceptive, and if you want to be an agency or freelancer effectively, you need to tie what you do back to revenue, or else you will be fired sooner than you would like to. And if you're a client outsourcing it, or you're a brand doing it in-house, do not assume that because your blog traffic is growing that your SEO campaign is going well, because there's a very good chance it's not. See you guys in the next video.